Good afternoon and welcome to the July 7th Padre Dam Board of Directors meeting. I'm President Wilson and this meeting is called to order. All board members are physically present in the boardroom, which is different. However, we are still providing video conferencing for the public and other staff who need to participate remotely. Instructions for the public to participate electronically and procedures for live and written public comments were included on today's agenda and posted on the district's website. Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. This is an opportunity for public comment. Amy, are there any comments from the public?
We did not receive any written comments for items not on the agenda. I'll let you know if we receive any requests for live public comments on agenda items during the meeting.
Okay, thank you. I think that brings us to a presentation recognizing the Water Conservation Student Poster Contest. Emma Shea is going to present.
Good afternoon, board. I'm Emma Shea, the communications coordinator. I'm here to present to you today our winners of the 2021 Water is Life Student Poster Contest. And I know that a lot of the students and teachers are with us today virtually watching the board meeting. We had students from 10 classes participate and send in posters with the theme Water is Life, and we had over 120 entries this year. Entries came from Rio Seco, Carlton Oaks, Pepper Drive, Crest Elementary, and Sycamore Canyon. So these winning posters will also be sent on to Metropolitan Water District's Water is Life Student Calendar Contest. So I'm proud to present to you our winning 2021 artwork. Of the teachers who also participated this year. And if you could please take a minute, join me in congratulating all of our winners. Thank you.
Do they go on to compete with others now? The winners go on like they used to do and ultimately potentially at Metropolitan and Los Angeles?
Yeah, from now we'll send them over to Metropolitan Water District's contest.
And then the winners of that goes on tour?
The winners of that are included in their calendar. And then I'm not sure, last year they weren't able to do the tour because of COVID, but this year I'm not sure if they'll be able to.
Yeah, I always enjoyed that. When they do that, because then when they end up here, as they ended up in all of the retail agencies in the lobby, and children's art is just fabulous. Director Till?
First off, I want to say congratulations. I am a teacher myself. and this was incredibly impressive. First off, what this does is this promotes STEAM. And I'll to you all, teachers on this, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Arts component is the creativity and innovation. So good job on that. I first want to just say something that I noticed. I am a geography, high school, and college teacher, Earth System Science. The kindergartner poster, you got the axial tilt of the Earth correct. I'm sorry. Please continue to march in the study of Earth science. We might see you in space with NASA. That was amazing. And the other one that I just stopped, and they're all fabulous. They're all amazingly. Kaylee, you did a wonderful job on the graphics, and I'm so proud of you all. And one thing I tell all my students, water is great employment and great money. So continue to march, take your chemistry, take your math, take your Earth system science and geography, and continue to march. I'm so proud of you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Congratulations to all of the winners. Okay, that brings the items to be added, withdrawn, or reordered on the agenda. Board members, staff, do we have any items to reorder on the agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion? We're going to the item 1, which is the minutes. The minutes, two sets of minutes, June 2nd, June 16th regular board meeting. Do I have a motion for approval? Director Pommering moves approval. Director Peasley seconds the motion.
Yes, sir.
Have any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please indicate your, I've got to do this the way it used to be done. Please indicate your affirmative by saying aye. Any opposition? Any abstention? Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Okay, item 2 is member agency briefing by San Diego County Water Authority, Dan Denham, who is the County Water Authority's Deputy General Manager. Welcome, Dan.
Hello, good afternoon, President Wilson, members of the board, and General Manager Carlisle. Thanks for the opportunity today. Like Director Wilson said, Dan Denham, Deputy General Manager at the Water Authority. I've been with the Water Authority about 15 years, working primarily on imported water issues on the Colorado River and with the Metropolitan Water District. We just wanted to come out and provide just sort of a brief refresher about what our role is in the region and some of the efforts that we're working on with our member agencies, and then just sort of really briefly wrap it up with some of the top issues. So let's go ahead and go to the first, or there we go, to the second slide there. So as many of you know, and I'm sure that you've seen this slide before, you know, this is the Water Authority service area. Since its creation 77 years ago, the Water Authority has served San Diego's wholesale water needs. Today, we provide water to you and 23 other member agencies that serve a metro area of about 3.3 million people and a $253 billion economy. This consists of 36 board members representing each of the agencies. I want to thank you, Director Wilson, for your leadership throughout the years as an MWD delegate on the Water Authority, a Colorado River board rep, the chair and vice chair of many committees, and of course our resident accountant on the board. He always seem to help us do all of our financial matters. So I think you all know that the Water Authority, our region at least, has very few natural water assets to support our economy and our quality of life, and that's why we've worked diligently and strategically, really, over the past 3 decades to diversify our water supplies and ensure that the region has local control, which is very important. Water in California and water on the Colorado River. We saw during the last 2 droughts, I think, that this approach helped us secure sufficient supplies for our homes and businesses when our wholesaler at times couldn't make full deliveries to our region. Next slide, please. So we're entering what is being tagged as a drought-proof summer because of the Water Authority Board's focus over the past several decades to diversify our regional water supply portfolio. And this is what it looked like. This is what it looks like. Our main service comes providing safe, reliable water. And for some of our member agencies, it's their only supply. And for others, is supplemented by local supplies, as Padre is doing with potable reuse. So let me just walk through how we sort of got to where we are and how we achieved this diversification. Many of you have heard about the QSA, the Quantification Settlement Agreement, and the canal lining and transfer over the past several years. It remains the nation's largest agricultural to urban water conservation agreement. It currently goes to 2047. We can extend it to 2077, and the canal lining water goes well into the next century, into 2112. Of course, there's the Carlsbad desal plant, again, the nation's largest seawater desal plant that opened in 2015. It's a 50 mg drought-proof supply. In terms of conservation, per capita water use in San Diego County has dropped from 235 gallons per capita per day from in 1990 to 120 gallons per capita today. So that's more than a 50% drop. I think that what this speaks to is that conservation is really hardwired into our community and our businesses. Reclaimed water, member agency projects, recycled wastewater, purple pipe, all of that plays a big piece in our portfolio, as does potable reuse, which I believe is hands down the future of water here in San Diego. And as we know, the East County project, Pure Water and Pure Water Oceanside are taking the lead on that for our region. Let's go to the next slide, please. So in order to create and protect that supply portfolio, the region has made some strategic investments, and this is just a look at some of the infrastructure that we've made to both expand storage and move water around the county. We've expanded storage with the Olivenheim Dam reservoir, which was completed in 2003. The San Vicente Dam raise, again, still the largest single increase in regional water storage in our region's history. That was completed in 2014. We built state-of-the-art water treatment plants that increased our region's capacity to treat raw water and of course give us more control over the costs associated with treating water. Of course, we've built additional pipelines and pump stations and added the ability to move water in and out of Lake Hodges. And in fact, the Hodges project, it does include a hydropower component that serves as a energy offset to the cost for desalinating our water at Carlsbad. Next slide, please. So kind of getting into some of the other things that we see ourselves as doing for the region. Our industry is, I think, as you know, heavily regulated and dependent on outside funding sometimes to keep water rates affordable. As the regional water provider, we essentially advocate for legislation and provide a unique presence, I think, in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. For the region. We coordinate all of this with all of these legislative efforts with our member agencies. And every 3 weeks, we host a member agency legislative liaison call to share, recent relevant legislative information and receive input on different policy positions, mostly in Sacramento, but there's often an opportunity to provide some input in Washington, D.C. as well. We recently hired a new Sacramento lobbying team consisting of California Strategies, Lang, Hansen, Giroux, and Kinnaid. They've been working closely with staff to advocate for our region during this drought, including funding for projects, educating the state about regional shovel-ready supplies, or projects, I should say, and exploring opportunities to protect our regional agricultural community. Just to kind of highlight some examples, AB 1588, this is the bill that we co-sponsored with Otay Water District. This provides a path of reciprocity for military veterans to apply their advanced skills and expertise towards state and industry supplied certifications. Another one, SB 606, supported recycled water, including potable reuse. I think that you all know, including Pure Water Oceanside, the East County project, and Pure Water San Diego. And so this legislation essentially incentivizes the use of recycled water, including an incentive for agencies that provide recycled water treated to a suitable drinking level. There's lots of others that I could touch on, you know, whether it's rate relief or letters to the governor in terms of drought, which I think is probably more timely right now as we head into or are in the midst of another statewide and lower Colorado River and upper basin drought. But this is sort of, I believe, a centerpiece of being a regional provider for the agency, providing these kind of things that doesn't always happen at the retail level. Next slide, please. So we also try to amplify your good news and our good news. We do this through a number of resources that I think really give sort of an economy of scale. These tools, I think, supplement your retail efforts, and of course, with all the input we get and guidance from the member agencies, we're always trying to make how we look to the public better in terms of water use, conservation, and being just, I think, good stewards of water. It really takes the form of outreach and educational assistance. You know, I think we use a variety of approaches and messages about safe and reliable water. We have, again, a monthly meeting with our member agencies and the joint public information and conservation meetings that we have with your staff. We try to develop and refine regional messaging similar to what you really just saw with those school-age children and being good stewards of water. A lot of really valuable things of that nature to get the word out about being good water stewards. Next slide, please. So I believe our entire industry is facing a potential shortage, challenge and a shortage in talent. And we've been partnering with our member agencies and other regional and federal partners to develop our workforce and recruit future water professionals. There's a stat out there that there are about 4,500 water and wastewater jobs in the San Diego region, and about 40% of the people in those jobs are over the age of 50. And so we anticipate a 10% turnover rate, equating to 450 vacancies per year across all 50 water and wastewater agencies region-wide. So we've been partnering with the Department of Defense on their Skill Bridge program. This was through a 2011 National Defense Authorization Act. We have created bachelor's degrees in public administration and waterworks management concentration with local universities. And we just continue to expand our water and wastewater internship programs, bringing college-age students in early and getting them engaged and excited about being part of the water community. Next slide, please. So I only have 3 left, but I thought it would just be good in general, since we are in the midst of a drought, like I mentioned, to kind of look at what the headlines were just years ago. So going back in history, this is the 80s and the 90s drought. You can see on the top left of the screen, talking about a 50% supply cut. This included a 90% cut to our agricultural community. Devastating cuts that really changed the face of water in San Diego. If it wasn't, of course, as you've heard before, for these miracle March rains that occurred, the regional cut was reduced down to 31%. But much of the headlines that you see today, really, they're not too far off from where things were. But when I started this presentation, I said that we're entering a drought-safe summer, and I think that has everything to do with the investments that we've made. Next slide, please. So you sort of contrast all of that with what you're seeing today, and we're avoiding all that because of what we're paying through our water bills for the reliable water supplies. While there's not a lot to go around, we have enough of what we need, and I think it's important to always be able to look back at how far we've come as a region. I just wanted to quickly speak to the Colorado River because it is such a big piece of the puzzle. Not to say that the Bay Delta isn't, but for the first time heading into 2022, I think we're going to find ourselves in a shortage on the river. And Director Till, I noted in some of the questions that you had and comments in your director's report regarding the California contribution to the drought contingency plan, and just I think storage in general, that your recognition that this really is an important issue. So I just wanted to let all of you know that I'm more than happy to come back and do a deeper dive on Colorado River issues, because it will be front and center going forward in the months to come. Just Director Till, some of the I think comments that I saw or questions that you had about Lake Mead elevations. There is a 1 in 3 chance that between now and 2026, California is going to have to forego some portion of its Colorado River water based on the agreements that it went into in the drought contingency plan just a couple years ago. Now, this is mostly going to come from the Metropolitan Water District. It could be as high as 900,000 acre feet cumulatively over the next couple of years leading up to 2026, but none of it will come from the Water Authority from our region, and none of it will come from the Imperial Irrigation District, who has the largest entitlement to Colorado River water in California, and who our QSA water transfers are tied to. A lot of the water that's being put behind the dam right now is through system efficiency projects. Those are projects like our transfer, where you essentially pay farmers, irrigators, to be more efficient, whether that's through drip irrigation or pump back systems. That's the water that's being put behind the dam. The fallowing programs that you see in Blythe, and very few of them in the Imperial Valley, those don't qualify any longer to be stored as surplus water in Lake Mead. So again, I just wanted to bring that up. We're always looking for support from the state and federal government as it relates to Lake Mead and their engagement in that matter. The Secretary of the Interior is, after all, the water master of the river, and so the administration's support with the basin states is always going to be a very big deal to the Water Authority, because candidly, 50% of our water is tied to the river for our region. So let's go to the last slide. I just want to end it on a more positive note. I hope that you all have seen this in the UT, this Steve Breen cartoon from April of 2021. It kind of shows, what the past several decades have produced for our region in terms of being prepared with both local supplies, desal, our reuse projects, the water from MWD, and of course, the Colorado River. So Director Wilson, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Dan. Any comments, questions from board members? Director Till.
Hi, Dan. Thank you very much for your candor about the Colorado River. I really appreciate that. When I am talking with constituents in Division 2, this is literally the question that I get. I'm going to wash my car now because I'm afraid I can't wash in a month from now. People are very, very concerned. And so I think that's our obligation as a government agency, is to be honest. A few things. First, I don't know if you are aware, but we do have a water task force at San Diego State. It's called Blue Gold, and that is with the engineering department, the chemistry department, and watershed science and geography, which I have my PhD in water resources geography. It has been my dream to get a pipeline from SDSU. They're very well equipped to do that and very dedicated to water. They got some of the leading water experts in the world there to start that. And so, you know, if anybody wants to move forward on that, I'm 100% behind it, and I'll do what I can. And I am part of, I do when I can, I do on and off visit the Blue Gold Task Force there. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know Cuyamaca has their program. My concern about the Cuyamaca program is excellent, and I have been an instructor at Cuyamaca College in the sciences, but it is very narrow. And I think SDSU will give you a more broad and diverse, because we want a diversified water resources background with a degree from SDSU. The other thing I wanted to know if the County Water Authority was aware of the County of San Diego native plant ordinance. Can we go back to the previous slide? The one thing that Steve Green missed there, and we should have put on there, was conservation. We still have not hit our limit on conservation. And the County of San Diego has moved forward, and they're bringing together some of the best plant and scientist experts to work with native plants, not only for conservation for water, but prevention for fire. They're working very hard on that. And I'm the only water person there now. And I do know we have our, you know, from the DWR, our model water efficient landscape ordinance. I've sent that to the people at the county, but I would greatly appreciate it, and I can assist you on if we work with them on that, because native plants will save us in many, many ways. Not only for conservation, there are a lot of the native plants, if you manage them correctly, are fire resistant, and they clean our stormwater, which I think will become a new source of water for us. And the only other question I have, and this is my final question, and again, your candor is amazing, is I'm still struggling to find the true cost of desalinated water. I did put that in my report, and if we could get that, that would be great on there. So just so we know when we have the cards on the table, because we're under fire here with AWP of how expensive it is. But I do know this board, and I honor and I respect this board, has done an amazing job putting this together. And it's going to, it is just phenomenal how East County has risen to the challenge. So that would help us out also. So thank you very much.
Yeah, if I may, Director Till, it sounds like I have 3 things to follow up with you on. One should be fairly easy, and one that I'm really excited about. I was just elected to be on the SDSU Board of Alumni Advisors. And one of the things that I do want to bring to SDSU is exactly what you described. It's what I talked about in my interview and application process, that as well as working closer with Mexico and the environmental community. So I will follow up with you offline with that, as well as with the native plants. In terms of the desal costs, you know, the cost per acre foot for the contract water or the product water, it's about $2,500 an acre foot. When you include what we had to pay for the pipeline to get the water to the Twin Oaks Valley Water Treatment Plant, that's about another $250 or so, which brings it about to about $2,800 an acre foot. I think that's sort of just like the real high level look at what the cost is. You know, the pipeline was funded through debt, so that's a component of that $200 or so an acre foot. But in terms of any embedded costs in our O&M budget, there really is nothing there. Everything is contained in the agreement that we have with Poseidon and in that cost per acre foot. Now, you know, interestingly, there's also opportunities in the future to expand the plant. I think that those conversations are way too early, but there's an opportunity to gain some greater economies of scale with the unit price and the production. And then of course, there's always the opportunity, like I alluded to earlier, with hydropower revenue and credits to offset the cost of power. So we're always looking at that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I just, Dan offered to come back, and brief the board in more detail on the Colorado River in particular, and the QSA and how that works. The board, I've talked to Dan about this a couple of months ago, and if the board is interested in doing that, I'd like to take Dan up on his offer. Come back.
Anytime.
Set up a separate agenda. I think I've heard a lot of the presentations in the past, but I think it's good for you folks to hear, the same kinds of things.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, you're invited. We'll work with Amy, work with the County Water Authority staff and come up with it. I had asked Dan to look at Director Till's comments and questions that she had in her board report. And I'm glad that you incorporated some of those answers. I think there's some other answers still outstanding. And what I'd like to propose, and is, part of an education process too, is to, for our staff and your staff, come up with written responses to each one of her questions, and we'll get back to her, and then copy the whole board on those questions. And General Manager Carlisle can do that.
Absolutely.
And that's my comments. Director Peasley.
One subject that I'm interested in, Dan and Director Wilson, is the conveyance system study for I forgot the title of it, North County Conveyance or whatever it's called. I'd like to hear a brief and update on where we are with that and what's the current thinking and where we are.
Okay.
Yep.
We did have an actual presentation from I think
A while back.
When so there's been phase 2 now is in the phase B, I guess, is in the process. Maybe we incorporate that as well. So Dan, looks like we're going to keep you busy.
That's fine.
You
No
don't have
problem.
anything else to do.
No.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for the presentation. And there's no other comments or questions from the board. We'll move on.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Dan.
Thank you for having me.
Brings us to item number 3, customer late fees and shut off for non-payment. Board members, raise your hands if you have any questions. I think after the staff presentation, we may have a comment from the public, and we can take it at that time. So let's go on with the Karen Zasoy is going to present.
Yes, good afternoon, board members. Sorry I missed you. I'm knee deep in pro forma model for the JPA. We're turning around some information from Monday, so I'll see you next time. So this is item 3, customer late fees and shut off for non-payment. I feel like I've been in front of you a couple times over the past year and a half with this. So next slide. So here's the timeline. Back in March 2020, the board temporarily suspended late fees and shut-offs. In April 2020, Governor Newsom issued an executive order which temporarily prohibited the shut-offs for non-payment, but it did not eliminate the customer's obligation to pay for water service, prevent charging customers for service, or reduce the amount that a customer already owes. Then in October, we decided to reinstate late fees because things seemed to be calming down, and then right after that, December 2020, the pandemic resurfaced and Governor Newsom reinstituted a stay-at-home order. Back up, please. And again, the board temporarily suspended the late fees for delinquencies to support customers facing financial challenges during that time. Next slide. So late in February 2021 of this year, we started to see declining COVID-19 infections and deaths. And so on June 11, 2021, Governor Newsom signed various executive orders. The ones that are important to us was N721, which is rescinded the stay-at-home order and opened things back up, and N821, which basically overturned or provided that the original executive order that prohibited water shutoffs would expire September 30th, 2021. And so today, I'm looking into the future, August 1st, where staff is recommending reinstituting late fees. And then October 1st, we're recommending reinstating shutoffs for non-payment. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of context on this. Some general information. You know, Padre Dam exists to provide essential services to its customers. We must bill and receive payment for these services. And traditionally, delinquencies and bad debt have been historically low. I know that's a question, where are we compared to where we were? Our delinquencies are generally around less than 3%, and our bad debt is less than 0.5%. So we generally receive payment on outstanding bills. The temporary suspension of late fees and shutoffs was a very important thing to do at the time, was to be helpful to our customers, but it did remove an incentive for customers to make timely payments. And we did have discussions, our customer service staff has had discussions with customers saying, yeah, once you institute late fees, we'll start paying you. And so, you know, it's hard to differentiate between the people that really needed the help and the people that are just using this as an interest-free loan, but it didn't matter during the pandemic. We treated everyone the same. And so since we suspended those, we've seen quite an uptick in the delinquency rate. Another thing is Prop 218 requires that the revenues derived from the utility service fees and charges not exceed the costs required to provide those services. So we can't exempt some customers from their obligation to pay. A continued moratorium outside of a pandemic really is more like a subsidy, or forgiveness is more like a subsidy, and that passes costs on to other customers, because the annual financial impact of this is over $1 million. So we've already, you know, we'll probably be about $1.5 million lower than, or about $1.5 million throughout the pandemic. So this slide here is the delinquency trend. You see back in November 2019, it was around 119,000, and you know, that really is kind of overstating the overall delinquency magnitude, because we do have a couple large customers that really make that up, that are generally late. And so, but it did climb up to 617,000 in December, and then down to 529 in March. And when I say March, that's really June 30th numbers, because we're not counting these. These aren't all people that have not paid. These are who would go to shut off at right now. So it's not 30 days. It's who would be going to shut off. So there's more people that are slightly delinquent, but we track it as, when we say delinquent, is who would be, what are the people that would be going to shut off. Next slide. So this here shows just a shorter period of time, because we started tracking a smaller subset to compare. So this was additional information. This is the same information as the prior slide, but just a shorter time frame. Next. So this shows the top 20 accounts and how much of that delinquency the top 20 accounts make up. Next. And then the remaining 360 accounts are around $225,000. So it's not the amount of those outstanding bills is not tremendous for the if you were to take that as an average. So our customer service staff has been great during the pandemic. They've been very proactive and super supportive of our customers. They've reached out by phone, mail, and email. They've offered to set up special payment arrangements, or get people to make partial payments so it wouldn't be so hard later on. It's hard to pay a big bill later on. And all along, they've explained that the suspension of late fees and the shutoffs was temporary, and that they would ultimately be responsible for their bill. We've also done a really good job of promoting the county renters assistance program. Although some other districts have really have seen a lot of customers using this, very, very low participation rate from our customers on this program. And a number of customers simply have not responded to our calls and have made no effort to set up special payment arrangements. So so it's hard to help people when if they're not answering our calls, but we will continue to reach out. I think that's part of the whole program, is to well, I'm going to talk about that on the next slide, on another slide. Next. So there are two recommendations. You saw them earlier, to reinstate the late fees August 1st and to reinstate shutoffs October 1st. And the reason why we have these dates is, we thought of different dates. The governor's order is effective after September 30th. So we said, okay, well, maybe November 1st. The problem with putting things out is we start to hit into the holidays. So we kind of backed up from there, and we said, if we started late fees August 1st, we would have some time to reach out and message our customers during July. We have a bill message going out tomorrow if you approve this. We will be opening our office in July so we can assist customers at the front counter. Although when we did this in December, a lot of people called in. We'll have 2 months to work with customers to become current before we restart shutoffs. So we want to try and get people current so that they don't have to face the shutoff. And we did a poll. About 50% of the districts in the county are now or have never stopped charging late fees. And then the others are looking to commence late fees in the next few months. And so if we reinstate shutoffs in October, that'll be consistent with the governor's order. And we expect that the number of accounts will have reduced with the late fees. And over the time between August 1st and October, we'll really work with our customers and do our best to help them and get them as current, or set up on a payment plan. We can do that as well. And our ultimate goal is to avoid shutoffs during the holidays. So we want to get through this. As I said, we've been in close contact with our customers, and we've let them know all along that this is coming. And so that's why we're proposing these dates as they are here. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Fine, thank you. Thank you, Karen. I think we have a public comment that Amy is going to read.
Yes. So we have a public comment from Dr. Bonnie Price from Spring Valley on this item. It states, according to the agenda item 3, the board may vote to change the current practice regarding late fees and shutoff notices. Since that is very soon for those operating on slim budgets, I urge the board to change its plans. I propose that the board opt to reinstate late fees on October 1 and shutoff notices on November 1 in 2021. In doing so, the board will show it is sensitive to many constituents who operate on slim budgets. It will also relieve those families with children to reduce home water use after their children return to school. Thank you for your consideration.
Did you say Spring Valley?
Yes.
So it was not in our district.
It's either a Helix or an OTI customer.
Yeah, Helix or OTI. Okay, board questions, comments? Jill?
Something as a parent and a teacher I was very concerned about is that I don't want families to be worrying about water during the hottest part of the year, which is August and September. If we have a heat wave, and they've been hitting, we've been lucky so far, and we have a brownout or blackout, and I've been in Santee. I finally got air conditioning, was able to afford air conditioning myself in 2016. Went through many years since 1994 not having air conditioning. You need your water. And I would hope that we don't allow these families to have to worry about late fees or not using water. Oh no, we can't use water when it's really, really hot. Also, and I agree, I would like to go with October 1st for the late fees and November 1st, because then the kids are back in school. And if the kids are back in school and it's a hot point, hopefully they'll have a place to go. So that was just my primary concern.
Amy, could you put the previous screen up? Keep that up instead of the question screen. Thanks.
The comments, questions by board members? I would just say that I think it's important to note that with staff Karen presented earlier under Prop 218, I think also Prop 26, we can't have customers subsidizing other customers. It's against the law.
That's correct.
If, to the extent that some customers don't pay their bills, by definition, that means other customers are paying for their bills. And that's just not legal. I mean, we have had this question before in terms of worthy organizations that, could they not pay their water bill? I mean, in fact, the Historical Society in Santee is one of those. And the board decided to help them out personally, but we can't do that under the current law. So I'm certainly in support of staff recommendation. Director Plummer?
Unfortunately, there's probably never a good time to have to do anything like this. It's a fact that we have to face it. I'm happy that staff is certainly taking into consideration the holidays that are coming up. That would make it even worse on people, unfortunately. I tend to agree with Director Wilson. The only thing I would like to have staff do is bring back a report, maybe on a monthly basis, even if you just send us the report, how the trends are going, where we go from there. It's unfortunate. It seems like unless I misread it, it seems like the top 20 are taking advantage of us, and not us. They're taking advantage of all the other ratepayers in our district. And that's problematic, and that's wrong. I know of another water district that said they had set aside something like $500,000 to help people, and they received requests for less than $60,000 of assistance. So I'm not sure what that says, but certainly it's a statement on people, I think we've always worked. I keep looking for you over here, Karen. I'm sorry, you're over here now. I think we've always worked. I know we've always worked with people that are having financial problems and tried to help them to the best of our abilities legally. And I think that's sometimes when a higher authority passes a law, they don't have to deal. We have to deal with that. They don't have to deal with the issues that we have to deal with on a local level. But unfortunately, Prop 218 is there, and it's something we have to recognize, and it's something we have to deal with.
Director Peasley?
I agree with everything that Director Pomeranz has said. I surely have empathy for everyone who is having trouble paying their water bills and any other bills that they may have. It's important for us to recognize that we have a business to run here. And it's important for us to recognize that we've already close to $1 million in losses that impacts everybody's rates besides the ones that are not paying their bills, which is unfair to all of them. That gets to the 218 issue that Phil brought up. So I really think that we need to begin for the staff recommendation, reinstate the shutoffs and the late fees effective the show today. I would like to extend them, but I think there's a time when things need to be brought more in a business order situation, and I think we're here. So I recommend that we approve staff recommendation.
With a motion for staff recommendation by Director Peasley. Do I have a second? Director Pomeranz?
I'll second that with the request that staff report to us at least on a monthly basis, telling us how the trends are doing.
I'll modify the motion to include that.
Thank you.
Option.
And I will second that. I don't think 218 doesn't allow us any room to do this.
Yeah, I think everything we're dealing with is unprecedented, of course, in our history, as far back as you want to go. What is the impact of is it Ms. Price? What's the impact if you change the dates to October 1st and November 1st? And I realize there are certain people taking advantage of this circumstance, obviously. But what is the impact? Do we know that impact if I guess it amounts to a 2-month delay?
Yeah,
Because I agree with everything you're saying. From a business perspective, we we obviously owe it to our customers to collect debts. To me, this doesn't mean we're not collecting debts. To me, it means we are simply maybe extending a payment timeframe, that kind of thing. Who did I interrupt? Karen?
No, I'm sorry, I was hopping in, but you hadn't finished your question. So it's not the financial, you know, I mean, it's not, I mean, maybe a couple $100,000 if you're looking at it, but it's really knowing the work that is going to come, the workload and what it takes to walk with, you know, we have 23,000 customers. Not all of them are going to have late fees, but when we lifted late fees, or we reinstated late fees in December for 2 weeks, for 2 billing cycles, we had a lot of customers pay, and we had a lot of activity, a lot of calls. And if our goal is to keep people from being shut off, this is a way for us to work with them. You know, we have some latitude in working with our customers, but we need time. And so that's the impetus for trying to get the late fees instituted. I mean, it's been a year and a half. It's not, you know, we've gone quite a while, so that's staff's recommendation based on the workload that it's seeing and trying to avoid the holidays. We're open to the board making change, but that was really where we were coming from, not as much the financial part.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. That makes sense to me too. Okay.
Director Till?
When I was elected, I came in as a public servant, as a government agency, and I understand that we have to run a business, but we're not just a business, we're a government agency, and we're here to take care of our ratepayers and our people of East County. I think going through a heat wave in August and September is going to cause, without access to water, is going to cause a lot more problems than the holidays. The holidays, we've got rain and cool weather. So that's pretty much, you all understand where I stand on it. I'm going to stand for the kids. I want those kids in school have access to clean and safe drinking water and to cool them off. And I think that's very important for me, at least. Thank you.
I just like to respond. You know, I like the sentiment, but I don't think this staff's proposal is going to cut off water to anybody. We're not gonna, it's not gonna be that people can't get water during the hot season.
It's not an arbitrary cutoff.
So it's you know, I get the sentiment, but we're not cutting anybody's water off. I just want to be clear on that. Okay, Director Till.
I'm sorry if I misspoke. I didn't mean cutting off, but still people worrying about water. And my concern is, I know there are families that use the same bathtub for their kids. And I don't want people to have to worry about water during August and September. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? We have a motion by Director Peasley, seconded by Director Pommering, with a modification to include ongoing staff report on the debt levels as we go forward. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Okay, we have 4 in favor and Director Teal voting no. The motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, that brings us to item 4, California Special Districts Association Board of Directors 2021 election. Amy or Ellen, who's presenting?
Either one of them can. So I believe Joe McKenzie is the person we're most familiar with, and she actually addressed the board a month or 2 ago, requesting your support for this seat. On the list, there is everyone else running that I'm not familiar with, but if any of you guys are, you're more than welcome to vote for them. We get to vote for one.
You know, I would recommend Joe McKenzie. I mean, we all know Joe.
I would second that.
I will third that.
Yeah, she's done a great job.
My motion would be support Joe McKenzie and seconded by Director Pomeroy and Director Till.
So I went through all the files and I ran into Paulina Martinez Perez. And I had a wonderful phone call with her today. She's very young. And she was asked to run with the Sweetwater Authority because there weren't people who were young and in a science background and for diversification. And one of the things that she said that she wants to do is start, number one, science is important, climate change is important, and number three, let's rework our image and do better on community outreach. Her first question to me was, how many people come to your board meetings? And I said, rarely do we have anybody. She goes, I want to change that. And I got very excited about that. So I think Paulina, a UCSD grad, John Hopkins, I think she would be some new blood that is much needed.
Okay. Director Peasley.
Make a motion to approve Joe McKenzie. There's nothing to take place of experience, knowledge, and age. She's been there, done that. She'll represent us well.
Okay, I'll let you be the motion maker then.
I'll make the motion.
Made it. Director,
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry.
it's okay. Director
Oh.
Peasley, you can be the motion maker. That's fine.
I'll second if you want.
Director Pomerant is seconding that motion. I did hear most of them speak at the CSDA, including, I think Pauline Perez was there. There's a lot of impressive people here. I mean, I don't deny that. However, I think it's not broken. It doesn't need to be fixed kind of thing. So any other discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I just, Joe McKenzie has been really a leader in the water industry for a number of years. Great background, solid, really understands, I think, the issues that special districts have faced in the past and will face in the future. I don't know very many of the other candidates, so I really don't have much of a choice except to vote for Joe. I think she'd be outstanding. I don't see any others that I'm very much aware of.
Okay, any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion supporting Joe McKenzie, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Okay, it passes. Support for Joe McKenzie on a vote of 4-1 with Director Till dissenting. Okay, that brings us to board reports. County Water Authority, I submitted a written report. If you have any other questions, I did note Director Till's questions and stuff, and I think we're going to try to follow up with more answers.
I really do appreciate that, Director Wilson. Thank you.
More answers to those questions. I think it's good. It's good to ask questions. It's good to educate us all, and so we'll do that. And Metro Commission, Metro Wastewater, Director Peasley submitted a notice of cancellation for this meeting. Do you have anything else?
Just want to know to make sure that everybody, and I was reminded by our staff that the reason why the Metro Commission report is on the agenda every meeting is because that was board direction in the past. And so whether or not we have a meeting in that, it's still there. I think that's a good thing. It allows the board, because it's a very important entity to us, as the others as well. But so I just want to say that we had a discussion about removing it, and we're going to keep it as is. So I put my report in writing that said there's no report, and I thought that would be the appropriate thing to do. But Director Wilson, if you don't wish that to happen, that'd be fine too.
Well, I think you make a good point. I mean, it's good for us to know if there isn't a meeting, but you might just say that out loud, or you don't have to, whatever you want.
Well, it's in the computer. It's simple.
Thank you. That brings us to item C, Santee Chamber of Commerce. Also, Director Peasley, do you have anything to add to your written report?
I do not. Just like to point out that the item on the bottom of the report talking about the bridge and the memorial effort, that's going quite well. Fundraising efforts is going excellent. So they want to get all that work done before, is it November 11th? I think that's the correct day.
Yes.
Is that the right day?
It is. They want to dedicate it on November 11th, and they want to start it on September 11th.
Yes, and so there's going to be, I know that the gazebo has been reserved, and so there's gonna be an event. So that's what's going on.
As a veteran, I'm curious, can you explain to me the bridge, please?
Well, I'm not real knowledgeable about it, but one of the city councilmen, Dustin Trotter, has taken upon himself to champion a project to make the bridge across Santee Lakes on Mass Boulevard and create a memorial for
For all veterans.
For all veterans. And so that is a private project that's going to be donated, not paid for by any citizens other than if they wish to, and not by the city as Santee or anyone else. It's all private donations to build a memorial. It's about $60,000 they estimated to be done. And Dustin Trotter is going to make this happen come hell or high water, he says. And so I believe him. And so I think it's a great thing for the city of Santee.
I think if I may, I think the city was surprised that there really isn't a memorial for veterans anywhere in the city. So they decided to do this. I know, I hope you don't mind my saying so, I know Director Peasley made a donation. I made a donation this past week. I think it's a very worthwhile civic project for Santee, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be on the southwest corner of the bridge, isn't it?
Southwest, yes. I
Southwest
believe,
corner of the bridge, yeah. And there are some, at the Santee Chamber, there are some drawings of how it will look.
On their webpage.
Yeah.
So you can get information for donations and about this
Yes.
on the website?
And you would make your donation into the Santee Chamber of Commerce.
And veterans organizations can make donations too?
Anyone who wishes to.
Anything other than the city is not going to be putting any taxpayer money in it by design. They're not asking for any government money, but I think it's something that, if you want to, it's something certainly to be considered.
Right.
Well worthwhile.
Once it's completed, it will be donated to the city just as any private project is. So the city will then be responsible for, let's say, operating and maintaining the facility as we go forward. So this is a big deal for Santee, and I'm glad that Dustin is doing it.
I congratulate Councilman Trotter.
I did too.
Director Pierce?
Yeah, I'm kind of out of the loop here, but I didn't know about this. That's a great project. Where will it be exactly?
This on the southeast.
Southeast, okay.
Oh, it's down.
It's as we go.
So it's as you.
It's on this side, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Is it that little area of, there you go.
Okay, the only bad thing about that, of course, is parking, but I guess at least you got the parking along the street nearby. So
The city of Santee staff has done a lot of work and effort about moving this forward in terms of, choosing the location and all this stuff. So a lot of the groundwork on planning and efforts has been completed by the city staff in the past.
And I, as a veteran, gladly contribute to that.
You donated 4 years already?
No, just 2.
2 years.
I was a draftee.
I donated 4 years, so.
Well, this is to honor you, gentlemen.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll be glad to kick in too. I didn't hear about it. I didn't know about it.
It's a very important thing. It's going to be a big event, and the city council is all involved, and they rented the gazebo for that day. And so it's going to be a big thing.
Are there going to be outreach to veterans organizations too on this in East County?
There has been, and there will continue to be.
Okay.
So yes, the Santee Chamber is doing that effort.
Okay. Because the organization I'm with, we weren't aware, but now that I know, I'll pass that on to them.
Okay. So the Santee Chamber of Commerce Governmental Affairs Committee meeting, Director Pomeroy, do you have anything to add to your written report?
No, I don't.
Okay. San Diego East County Chamber of Commerce Governmental Affairs and Infrastructure Land Use Committee, Director Pomeroy, do you have anything to add to your written report?
I couldn't even add to the title of that committee.
That was really good, Doug. Good job.
I think that was my best effort.
Yeah.
I did that with one breath. Are there any other compliance AB 1234 issues that board members want to report on? Director Karas?
Well, I reported on it already, but the Russian River area up there, one of the aqua workshops that I observed was sort of shocking when you really look at the magnitude of the drought problem in the Russian River, which really is where all the atmospheric rivers in California, most of them come through. And having been raised in the Bay Area, that I've seen the floods in that area so many times, and now to think that there's no water. I mean, literally those two lakes are so low, and there's water districts that have no water, which is a really unusual problem to say the least, and there's no connection to the state project. So we don't think of Northern California as having as much of a drought impact as Southern California. But this shows that there's a tremendous problem up there in that Russian River watershed. 600,000 people are served by that watershed. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. It was a bit of a shock to me to realize what was going on up there.
Okay, we'll go on to director's comments. Have any Director Peasley?
Yes, and this is a good segue into what I would like to make a request of staff next time we hear a drought report. I know that over the handful of last number of years, there's been more rainfall and snowfall in the Northern California area than typical. So where did that water go? It went into storage and then it was released. So the drought and the lake storages of Northern California's. So this is a request of staff to put some kind of a chart or a table or something for the next time they make a report on the drought conditions and the reservoir storage conditions, is kind of historical perspective as kind of where that water was released or used, evaporated, or what. I'd like to know.
Director Till.
I know for a fact, and I think, and this is up to staff, but I can also do this on my own research and work with fellow researchers at San Diego State. But the main problem we have now is climate change, and the snowpack and the snow season is dramatically reduced. And also the albedo levels, which is reflectivity, are going down, which is causing more evaporation. So I'm more than willing to work with fellow researchers at UCSD and San Diego State if you want that. But in my opinion, the science is pretty clear that a lot of this water is not staying and is evaporating and going away due to climate change.
Well, the fact is that
this is the time for director's comments, and we're not really supposed to be having dialogue around director's comments. It's different than the report section. So I just want to make sure that we're staying on track.
all I want is where'd the water go that landed on the land?
We'll have staff.
Did it go down the river? Did they send it to the delta? Where did it go? That's all I really want to know.
Goes into the bay. Okay. The other director's comments?
God, after Paula shut us up, you know. No.
No, I know.
You do realize she's got a mute button.
Did she really?
Look at the power. That's control. That's good for you, Paula. Any other director's comments? District council report.
Now it's time for you all to do the same to me if you so choose. Just kidding. All right. So I know earlier in the agenda you were talking about water terminations, delinquencies, late fees, etc. And I hope that there is some sort of relief in sight for special districts. I think a couple of months ago, I reported on a report by the Legislative Analyst's Office that noted that special districts, especially special districts that derive fees for services, weren't really getting the money that was coming into the state from the federal government associated with COVID relief. And there was really an issue where counties, cities, general purpose agencies were getting these funds, but not agencies that needed to continue to provide services to the community, water and wastewater. And yet folks weren't being able to pay for their bills. And so it creates a situation. And then also the LAO report mentioned and acknowledged that we have limitations under the California Constitution with how we can collect fees. So thankfully, with the passage of the 2021-22 budget, it looks like there is some relief in sight. There
is $100 million allocated to provide fiscal relief to independent special districts that have encountered unanticipated costs or loss of revenue due to COVID-19. The Department of Finance or another entity chosen by the Department of Finance is required to develop eligibility criteria and plan to distribute the funding by September 1st, 2021. So the program should be established by 2021, and then thereafter there should be some revenue coming to agencies. The plan will is supposed to prioritize independent special districts that have not received other fiscal relief from the state or federal government. Based on the per capita unanticipated costs or loss of revenue the independent special districts incurred, that anticipate employee layoffs, service reductions, facility closures. Thankfully, I don't think the district is anywhere close to anything like that. But this is a pool of funds that is made available, will be made available through the state. There's also $1 billion in coronavirus fiscal recovery fund 2021 that will be made available for water arrearage debt relief. And this funding is noted as being contingent on future legislation. So those are those budget trailer bills that we've been hearing a lot about. But hopefully that will be a revenue stream as well for the district to help recover some of the costs that it has incurred, either as a result of non-payment of bills, of accounts, or just additional costs incurred by the district associated with complying with everything that we needed to with regard to COVID-19. Director Till?
Paula, could you track and see if with that money that's coming in, you know, with delinquent costs, if that money could be used, and again, I know we're tight-fitted with Prop 218, correct? But if that money could be used for people in extreme circumstances, be, pay for their bills, to give them a break.
I think that is the intent. That is the intent. These programs really are, I mean, the County of San Diego and the district, I believe, if Karen, somebody can speak to this, I believe the district did start receiving some funding through the county program. It was in place to help homeowners and renters who were having problems paying their bills. So it was funneling the money to the utilities that had money owed to them as a result of non-payment from customers. Karen, I see that you popped up.
Yes, we did. And we also advertised that a lot. It's just unfortunately a lot of people didn't use it. We had less than 10 people.
Yeah. And there were and I think that there were a lot of restrictions on when the county needed to make it available, when the application period ended. It was very difficult to reach the people that this fund, I think there was $100 million just in San Diego County to help with delinquent mortgages and rent and utilities. And it was very hard. I think to date, the county has really been able to release, use less than half of that. So hopefully the programs and the pools of fund that are being made available specifically for special districts, specifically for utility arrearage assistance, will be aimed at, crafted in a way that really helps the people that it's intended to serve and help. So we will be tracking that. We'll be looking at that. There's another program, and this is a pool of funds from the federal government. Now, I'm unsure if these pool of funds are going to be funneled through, if the state was counting on these funds as part of its budget, and it's already in these other programs that I mentioned, but it's a low income household water assistance program. The state of California was allocated $116 million, but California has to develop a plan document that has to be approved, and then California will be able to disperse the funds to operators of public water systems and treatment works under this program. So I'm not sure if maybe the program that I mentioned for water arrearages of that $1 billion of funds there includes this extra $116 million that's going to be coming to the state of California from the federal government, if that's included there. But hopefully this is all just going to go to the right place and help people, so that way they do have some relief. They don't have to be burdened with large water bills or utility bills that they haven't been able to pay because of the circumstances associated with COVID-19. Director Till.
One thing I realized today, I did a little research on agriculture, And because they've been really strapped in San Diego County, because we had such low rainfalls, only 4 inches of rain, and now they have to, use that much more water to irrigate their crops. I don't know, is there anything available for agriculture in San Diego County?
I don't know specifically in San Diego County. I mean, I know that there's a special ag rate that the County Water Authority has implemented for ag customers. I don't know specifically, but I'm sure that through the county, and I can't remember what the name of the organization is now, but there's the county, it's the industry organization for farmers and growers.
Farm Bureau?
The Farm Bureau would probably be a good resource for the agricultural community to reach out to see what assistance is made available specifically.
And I did call the Farm Bureau yesterday, and they said they weren't aware either. So I do have another organization called the San Diego Food System Alliance. I'm going to give them a call because, again, we're not in a time of drought. Agriculture relies on rain. Their cost of food and our cost of food is going to go up, if they have to use more irrigated water.
When I look through the budget things, I look specifically for those things that will directly impact the districts. And this is a huge budget. We had the state of California, had a huge budget surplus, lots of money to be able to put to good use. So hopefully a part of the Budget Act included making sure that segment of our economy, very important segment of our economy, was taken care of.
Okay, thank you, Paula.
You're welcome. But that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you. I was going to respond, but I can't we can't director to director. I'm trying to try to respond to that, but maybe we can do it all.
You can when it comes up with my report. Director's comments, you can't.
The County Water Authority just made permanent agricultural discount rates.
Okay, great.
And there used to be a T in front of the temporary, and it just converted to permanent. And in fact, recently there's a time period where ag customers can opt in to that program, and they haven't been doing it as fast as was expected. So at this last board meeting, the County Water Authority extended the time period to give those people more time. Especially, we got those input from Fallbrook and Valley Center. The people weren't doing it. So there's some programs out there, and they have access to the imported water.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the special ag rate that I referenced.
Okay. Then that's it for the general counsel report, general manager's report.
Yeah, one item, and that is that I wanted to make the board aware that on the 19th, we're bringing all staff back to this building, and we're also opening up the lobby to the public. So it's a big day. There's more to come on policy development related to remote working. We need to really be thoughtful in that, and we're not quite ready for that yet. And so we're going to bring all the staff back. They'll be here the 19th, and we'll have, of course, a board meeting on the 21st of that week. So FYI.
Yeah, and at pre-board, I spoke with staff about including the board in that discussion in terms of what it might look like going forward. Depending on what the governor does and when they relax, the requirement, will there be an opportunity to continue remote attendance, for instance, to meetings? And some meetings probably make more sense than other meetings for us. So I think we can have an open discussion about that when, in the future at the board level, and again, waiting for the governor to make his
Wave his wand.
mission.
I'm good.
Yeah, well, I neglected to mention also that, we of course are complying with the Cal OSHA guidelines for the workplace. And I want to commend Larry Costello and Lisa Sorcy for a fantastic job with tracking all of that and making sure that Padre is in compliance. So.
Okay, information reports, you've got 4 of them. Note file, finance and treasury report for the 31st, 2021. Securities Committee Special Board Meeting Minutes of June 14th, 2021. Finance and Administrative Service Committee Minutes of June 28th, 2021. And Park Committee Special Board Meeting Minutes of June 23rd, 2021. Note and file. That completes the agenda. We do have a closed session coming up, and we're going to break for 5 minutes, but before we do that, I ask legal counsel to take us into closed session, please.
Yes, and for any members of the public who are participating in this meeting, this is closing the first portion of the open session of the agenda. The board will be coming, there will be a report out of closed session following the end of closed session, and that will be heard on this line. The board will be going into closed session for public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 related to the CEO General Manager.
Thank you. We're taking 5.
Question, are you the Rotary